Hello and welcome to the Public Sector I Heart You podcast. I'm Chloe Herrmann and today I am joined by...
I'm Daisy Killian and I work at Warwick District Council.
Aman Sandhu, I work at the City of Wolverhampton Council.
I'm Will Oldham, I work in the leadership team at the Local Government Association.
Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about early careers in local government, why it matters, what we've been doing together to promote them and how we can continue to do that in the future, and also just to get an insight into what it's actually like to start a career within a council. So Daisy and Aman, you both joined local councils relatively early on in your career. Would you be able to just give us an overview of what you've achieved to date, how you found those roles, and perhaps what surprised you when you joined a local council? Shall I start with you, Daisy?
Yeah, so I joined about a year after finishing my A-levels. And I started at Warwick District Council as a project management apprentice. Did that for 2 years. I was working in our contract services team and came out of that with a level 4 project management qualification. And I was lucky enough that there was a job opening at the time of my completion. So then I stayed on as a project officer and we did a relocation out of our offices into a new building. So that was 18 months doing that project, which was really eye-opening, and actually working with the whole of the council to move everyone over and understanding about their business needs and how they work so that we can make sure that the space that we were providing for them, it was really eye-opening actually, because it meant that I got to see how the whole council worked. So I really enjoyed that job. And as part of that, I was working with some building surveyors, because obviously we're working with properties, and I basically spoke to my manager at the time and I said, I'm really interested in building surveying. I'm finding this really interesting and I want to learn more. And an opportunity came up for an assistant building surveyor role. So that's what I'm doing currently. And Warwick District Council are also supporting me further to undertake a chartered building surveying degree. So I'm doing that currently part-time alongside my job, which is really exciting. And it just shows that although I started as an apprentice, they've supported me further throughout the last 5 years. And now I've got to a point where I'm in a permanent position, but they're helping to support me for further training. And obviously that it's amazing for me, but it also benefits them as well.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. So when you were doing your A-levels, was this a career that you were kind of targeted, you were looking to get into, or was it something that was a kind of a bit of a surprise to you?
I think I knew in sixth form that I didn't want to go to university. That was kind of, I knew that quite early on. And so the apprenticeships, that word had been used in careers fairs at school, but it was only ever kind of private sector apprenticeships that were being advertised, your typical large companies that you would have heard of. I didn't know anything about the public sector, about local government. I didn't know anything even about apprenticeships in the local government. And so I did a year of kind of working because I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. And it was only until I saw the job opportunity that I thought, oh, actually, this is really quite interesting. And kind of learning a bit at that point, I learned a bit more about what local government was. So that was like a really good way for me to get my foot in the door. And then since being there, kind of once you're working for a local government, the opportunities are almost endless. But yeah, interesting how it was never mentioned when I was at school, and yet it should be. And you know, the campaign that you guys have been working on is amazing, to try and encourage schools and sixth forms and colleges to be sharing information about careers in local government, because it is an amazing way to go.
Thank you. And Aman, how did you get started in your council?
So it was the early stages of my career as well. So when I was doing my A-levels, I was a school leaver. I applied for an apprenticeship at the City of Wolverhampton Council. So this was a level 3 business admin qualification, working in children's services. So I completed this within a year, and then luckily a job opening came up. That was for an executive assistant role, also in children's services. So I've been doing that for about a year and a half currently now. And I'd say from my apprenticeship, I had a lot of support. So I was able to have so many transferable skills that I could bring across into my permanent job as an executive assistant. And I'd say, similar to how Daisy was saying about how when we're in school, we don't know too much about local government. So for me, I worked in children's services, but on the admin side, so I was very much behind the scenes. But we don't realise how much we contribute to the bigger picture as well, because we don't know too many things about these jobs when we're in school and when we're making that decision about the next step. And I think that over the 3 years that I've been in the council, I've had a lot of development and progression opportunities as well, which I'm really grateful for. And Wolverhampton Council have supported me a lot through them, so including a management course that I'm currently on as well. So that will be finishing later this year. So that's just another thing that I can add into my qualifications that I've done while being internal at the council. And then in the course of the next few weeks, I've also applied for my next job, which is a Future Leaders Officer. So I'll be starting that under the People Development and Experience team at the end of February, which is really exciting as well.
Thank you. And do you think that will take you on to more leadership roles within the council in the future?
Yeah, so I really hope so. So I'm also on an internal management course, like I've mentioned. So after the completion of that, I'm really hoping I can embed all the skills that I've learnt alongside doing that into a role that in the council. So hopefully in my Future Leaders Officer role, I'll learn so much and gain a lot of experience. And then after the 12 months, hopefully something else can come up that I can use as well.
Thank you both for sharing your journeys. You have both achieved so much in really what is a short space of time. So it's really good to hear that you were able to do that. We're also really supported by your council to achieve what you have done so far. So hopefully that will inspire others to have a look at what careers are available within the sector, but also understand that it is a sector that really supports people. It's a place where, you know, people can come, they can join the sector and they can thrive and really be invested in, while also supporting their local communities as well. And I think, you know, you both do very, very different roles in very different councils, but you are able to see the difference that you make in each of your individual roles as well. So Will, could you just give us an overview of the recent campaign that was delivered all about early careers in local government and how the Local Government Association asked West Midlands employers to be involved?
Yeah, of course. So I think first thing to say here is, I think as we all know, our sector really faces some significant recruitment challenges. From our most recent workforce survey, we know that 94% of councils are struggling with recruitment or retention of staff, and that's particularly the case in some of those big professions that we know about, like social care, planning, legal, and so many others. But it's also really important to remember that less than 5% of the local government workforce is aged under 25, and that has a big knock-on impact when we think about the future talent pipeline and who's going to be doing those vital jobs in generations to come. So we've been delivering a national recruitment campaign for local government called Make a Difference, Work for Your Local Council. And this year we were really pleased to work with West Midlands employers and partners in the region and councils, including the Combined Authority as well, on a targeted campaign that really focused on those kind of early careers, routes into local government, and raising awareness of the brilliant career opportunities that we have in our sector.
And I suppose when you were thinking about that campaign, what made you approach us as opposed to another REO?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to say here is that the West Midlands is obviously one of the youngest regions in the UK and in Europe as well. We know that around a third of the population in the West Mids is aged under 25, so it's a fantastic place to be kind of running a targeted campaign to reach that audience. I think what we've also seen here is there's some brilliant regional collaboration in local government in the West Midlands, and you know, we were really keen to tap into that, work with our existing networks and West Midlands employers to shape that kind of targeted campaign to reach that audience. So it's been a great place to trial it before we've taken it nationally. And Chloe, I wonder maybe a question for you about maybe what is it that makes the West Midlands such a sort of well-connected and collaborative place for local government, do you think?
I think for us, we were really excited to be involved. So we've invested quite a lot recently in young talent in early careers through WM Jobs. So we recently developed a whole package of resources for teachers to help people promote our sector within the schools and colleges. And I think we already had those foundations ready to go. So yeah, we were really excited when you approached us because we felt that we were best placed to make this work and kind of not starting from a standstill. We already had those early foundations in place so we could work with you at pace. And I think we had quite a clear vision of what good might look like, and we thought that we could support you with that. So we are a job board, we're an award-winning job board that we run at West Midlands Employers. So I think with that knowledge, balanced with the knowledge that you already had of delivering that national campaign, I think that worked together quite well.
It certainly did. And I think if you look at the campaign video that we captured for this campaign, working with councils like Sandwell, Telford and Wrekin, just really brought to life the career experiences of people who are doing an apprenticeship or a graduate programme in local government, and how it's kind of led them to develop a really exciting career in their professions.
Definitely. And I was so excited to be involved in that video. I mean, who thinks that working in a farm or having an apprenticeship within a farming industry is something that you're going to be able to get within a local council? I'm not saying that every council can offer that opportunity, but I think that was a really good demonstration that jobs in local councils, they're not just about collecting taxes or about emptying the bins. There's so much more that sits behind that. And I think that gave people a really good understanding of just what is possible, and hopefully surprised a few people when they saw that video.
Definitely. And I think when we look at the response we've had back from the campaign that we delivered in October and November in the West Midlands, people were really surprised by the variety of jobs that councils offer. There's a nice statistic we always say about there's more than 800 different types of job in a council. But also I think people wanted to hear more about how working for a council can give you good career development opportunities, how it can give you a good work-life balance, and they're inclusive, welcoming places to work. But then also you're really making a difference to your local community, having a direct impact on your doorstep. So those are the key messages we were really pushing through this targeted campaign.
Definitely. And I think as a region, it's just really nice to see people from our region, councils from our region represented. And now when we look at those videos that were included in the campaign, we see the places that we live and work. And I think that makes all of us really proud. So Will, could you just talk us through a little bit what we actually did in the campaign and then what the outcomes of that campaign were?
So we delivered a huge variety of different things. We captured a new campaign video, which we've been speaking about. We delivered lots of careers events, including at 11 universities, the Public Sector Career Expo with WM Jobs, and then the National School and College Leavers Festival. We did a Learn Live broadcast for schools and colleges in the region and had around 13,000 live viewers, which was really exciting. And we also delivered a paid social media campaign on TikTok, and that went sort of beyond what you were expecting. We had over 2 million impressions on that campaign and over 7,000 clicks from people wanting to find out more. I think really importantly as well, everything that we've developed for this campaign, we've shared with councils so that they can use it and edit it and make it local to their sort of situation and what they want to use it for in their recruitment challenges. So yeah, we've been really grateful to work with West Midlands employers, councils and partners on this campaign, and it's now being delivered nationally, which is really good to see.
Yeah, it's so good to see those assets that were originally just for our region now being used on a national scale. So we've seen those in the national campaign as well, which is brilliant. So Daisy and Aman, could you just let us know how you were involved in the campaign, please?
Yes, so we both took part in the campaign Learn Live broadcast back in July last year. So I did it on behalf of City of Wolverhampton Council. I was able to join in a broadcast and being asked a few questions about my career currently, which is an executive assistant. So kind of some of the work that I do, and able to showcase what I've done in the council so far. So my career journey from being an apprentice. And it's a great way to kind of show in schools what we actually do in councils, because I think there's so many things that we don't know until like you're working in a council, and I feel like the broadcast was a great way to really showcase what happens and in our jobs as well. Following on from that, we also did the expo, which we both took part in.
Yeah, so we joined Will at the Public Sector Expo at the end of last year. And we were able to talk to people that were coming, whether they were looking for new jobs or just kind of having an interest in careers in the local government. And then we actually did our own talk, and we were able to talk to a smaller audience about our experiences personally and kind of how they've developed and how the local government has been able to support us in apprenticeships or further learning or further careers. So that was an amazing opportunity to meet other local government authorities, but also to speak to members of the public that don't currently work in local government and be able to explain how we found it and how we've been supported, and to encourage other people to look at jobs in local government.
Thank you. So I think for me, what has come out loud and clear from this conversation is that we need to make sure that the careers as a whole in local government, but also especially early careers, are really visible for people. So when they're at school, when they're at college or university, that they see their local council or a local council in a different area as a really viable opportunity to start their career, or perhaps join when they've got experience elsewhere. It'd be really interesting to hear from each of you if I suppose you've got a takeaway from working on this project, or one thing that you would recommend to people externally when just thinking about careers or perhaps joining local government.
Yeah, so I think it's really important for local councils to consider hiring young people, being able to bring in new talent and younger people with different experiences. Councils are kind of known for having people that have worked there for quite a long time, and people tend to stay within a council and don't necessarily go further out or to the private sector. And having in fresh talent, fresh faces, means that that knowledge is then shared amongst the new people, so that when people retire or they leave, that knowledge is still kept within the council. I think sometimes people get comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it just means then that knowledge is taken away when those people leave. And I think also being able to have young people kind of brings fresh ideas, and actually change can be good. So I think from that point of view, actually I think it benefits local councils having young people in.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think I agree with that, definitely. And I think a big one for me is that when you are leaving school, whether it's GCSE age or A levels, it's such a big decision to make of what you want to do next. And a lot of school leavers don't actually know. And I feel like if that decision is rushed, I don't want to say you're making the wrong one, but you might be stepping into something that you don't want to do. And I feel like with the local council, if they can influence the work that they do in their city so much more, you can see how broad the jobs are as well, like how Will was saying, how many jobs there actually are in it in a local council. And I feel like when you are working there, you gain a lot of experience. And how I've moved across now to 3 different jobs, you get to see like different jobs that there are there and how they contribute to the bigger picture as well. So I feel like if we can influence that into like school leavers to show that, you know, no 2 jobs are the same, you're not doing the same job every day, and there's such a broad range of roles that you could apply for as well.
Absolutely. I think collectively, whether that's on a national level or a regional level or individually within our local councils, we've all got a responsibility to make sure that we are there. So we're there where young people are, just so we can explain our journeys and what opportunities we have available as well. What about yourself, Will?
Yeah, so I think from all of the market research that we've done as part of this campaign, we've uncovered that young people really want to have a career that makes a difference and contributes to society, but they don't necessarily have the awareness of what local government is, the kind of jobs that are available, or the routes in. So I think for councils, it's really about raising awareness of the job opportunities that there are available, and especially the routes to kind of grow your career in a council is really important to highlight. I think the campaign toolkit that we've developed can help councils to do that. It's kind of ready-made. You can take those assets and then use them in your communications. And I think another thing I'd highlight is also the importance of early careers networks in councils. We do a lot of work on this at the LGA. I think it really helps to build a community of people in their early careers, and that can be so important for retention when we're thinking about not just bringing younger people into the workforce, but then making sure that they stay in the council and grow their careers with us.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that is often forgotten, that when people arrive, we need to support them to be able to thrive and then obviously hopefully stay as well. So thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you for listening or watching us today. Don't forget to view past and future episodes of the podcast on our West Midlands Employers website in the podcast section.